Well, everyone, we get to talk about another game this time around, and this time it's Super Smash Bros Brawl, and let's see if this game is still worth playing in 2021. Now, this is what I'll tell you. I think this game is still completely great. I think it kind of brought a lot to the table a little bit, and when I was younger, I used to see these commercials for this specific, console all the time, and one of those things were the Super Smash Bros Brawl, and seeing the graphics difference from the GameCube version to this one was a pretty cool thing, and I think that in and of itself, it may have been one of the biggest jumps in terms of graphics, maybe from Brawl to the Wii U version as well. And I want to let you guys know again, I'm not a crazy gamer. I didn't play this game growing up. I recently just replayed it, but I've been playing so much Super Smash Bros Ultimate, and it's definitely one of my favorite games. And looking back into this one, there's definitely a lot of similarity, to be completely honest. Now, this specific game came out in 2008, so definitely not like the newest game ever, but it came out around the same time as like Super Mario Galaxy, and to be honest, Super Mario Galaxy, crazy good game. I'm reviewing that very soon. And this specific game, as of 2020, has actually sold almost 13.3 million copies, which is actually pretty crazy. It's currently the 8th best-selling Wii game of all time. And as you can tell, I'm reading this from ssbwiki.com, which is the Super Smash Bros. Article, so make sure you guys check it out. I love their website. Now, on release, from what I've heard, there were a lot of issues, when this thing was rolling out, especially with online, play. So this was one of those consoles that actually supported that. So I think that's awesome. I think that brought a lot to that table. But even when we played it on the Switch, that's still actually pretty choppy in my opinion as well. So ultimately, there's 35 characters within this specific game, which I guess there's 39 if you count, like Zelda, Sheik, Samus, Zero, Samus, and the other Pokemon trainers as their own things as well. But it's weird because when they went from the Wii version to the other version, they actually removed some of the main characters like Ice Climbers. They removed Snake. Mewtwo actually came as like a DLC later on, so there were some characters that actually ended up not coming, but as most of you know, going from Melee to Brawl, there were a lot of different things that came there as well. Now, the music has been said to be a pretty big improvement from the predecessor too, which was another really awesome thing, and there were some really awesome stages that came with this thing as well. I mean, Battlefield, Defino Plaza was here, Mario Circuit, which has always been there, Luigi's Mansion, the pirate ship one from that Zelda game, and there were some Melee stages as well. And overall, I will tell you, as you guys can see, the graphics are not actually that bad, and I think that's a really good thing to think about going from one game to the other. Now, from what I've heard, and I haven't personally experienced this because I'm not that super involved in the specific gaming title, but the mechanics from what I've heard from this game were actually not that great, and people actually ended up making, I think, Project M, which was like another, Super Smash Brothers that was built off the Wii, and people have said that was like the best specific version that actually came out, and I think that's a really cool thing. But the thing is that for me personally, as someone who's like not a super heavy gamer and who hasn't grown up on Super Smash, I don't really see the mechanics being that crazy different from like the Ultimate to this version. And again, I didn't play on the specific Wii controller, so that may be what it is. But I do understand that some people said the characters kind of float a little bit, and that may be the case, but I will say some of the characters, their specific moveset is actually pretty OP in my opinion. Things like Bowser, as you guys can see, his fire that he breathes, dude, that thing lasts way too long. And there were some other characters like that as well, where sometimes the things would just you can't do anything about it. And I'm not too sure why that's the case, but some characters within this game are just so they're just so powerful that they can actually go ahead and just kind of keep doing one move over and over again. Like Bowser, for example, just breathe out fire, and you'll pretty much be stuck in a loop and you can't do anything about it. So again, I think that's another thing that kind of happened in terms of when I was playing it. But I think other than that, the game kind of played out very well. You had a story mode in it. You could obviously play online, which is pretty cool. And you could obviously play with your friends as well, which was another really cool, feature within this specific game. Now, going from Melee to Brawl, there were 5 different characters that actually did not return. So we had Young Link, he didn't come. Mewtwo actually didn't come in this game, but he was there in Melee. We had Pichu, which, Pichu didn't come, which is okay. Roy didn't come, and Dr. Mario didn't come in this one, which kind of Dr. Mario was one of those characters that people kind of complained about why they added Dr. Mario and they didn't add other ones. But without a doubt, what I can tell you about this specific game and what I played with it in this time, I really do think that this game is still completely worth playing. But as I mentioned, if you're somebody who's already played or owns Super Smash Ultimate, even the Wii U version, there really isn't that crazy of a reason to pick up the Wii version in my opinion. There's a ton of similarity, and the Ultimate version is obviously the best one in my opinion because it has just everything in it. But the mechanics is one of the biggest things that kind of came, with Melee, where it kind of dropped the ball in Brawl. But on top of that, at this time, and this is the one thing I totally understand why people don't like Brawl, at this time, people were trying to play Brawl, competitively, and there were a lot of issues because it wasn't really, fair for competitors because this game's mechanics were a little different. But Nintendo actually looked down upon competitive players and they didn't want people playing this game competitively. So they actually blocked a lot of people from playing it, in terms of tournaments and stuff, and that was a pretty big deal in and of itself. But I do think this game is fun. I think it's pretty good, but I think I'm just so used to playing Ultimate that anything before Ultimate kind of seems like a downgrade. Even though every single Super Smash Bros. Was super important, I think the Brawl version is still completely worth playing like I mentioned, but if you want, Ultimate is probably the way to go. But this game is still completely fine as well. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.